Hey everyone, we are so excited you're here. I'm Stephanie, founder and CEO for Competitive Advantage, here with Alexis, our VP of Operations. We are here to just help you guys understand what our platform is, why it's going to benefit you, and how it's going to change your life, not just today, but over your entire career. So to kick it off, I'm just going to share my screen. So HCA at its core, it's the only recruiting platform connecting current and former collegiate female athletes with organizations that value their unique skill set, which is why all of you are here. So to kick things off and for some quick housekeeping items, we're going to cover off a little bit of our introductions, some story behind HCA, what does it do, chat about the platform and the features, how to join, and then next steps. So to kick things off, I'm going to kick it over to Alexis to give you a little bit detail on her background.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis Barlow. I'm the VP of Operations here at HCA. I am a former women's college basketball player. I double majored at Xavier University for undergrad. I spent the last 20 years working in college athletics, marketing in athletic departments, and then most recently in NIL. And I also have a law degree from Marquette, and I am so passionate about what we're doing here at HCA because I know that as a former athlete, I didn't have any time to, whether that was internships or really just thinking about life after graduating. And this is going to make your life so much easier and be a great tool for you all.
A little bit about my background. 18 years ago almost, which is crazy, I was a college athlete at Arizona State. And then I was a stay-at-home mom for many years after college athletics. My husband was actually a college basketball coach on the women's side. And my youngest, you can see in that photo, who's so cute. He's now 10, but at the time he was super sick. He's totally fine now. But that kind of just, switched my husband and my roles completely. And that's a long story for another day, but I essentially entered the workforce in 2015. Here's a photo from my first day on the job as a financial analyst from 2015. 9 years later, I'm currently a global vice president for a multi-billion-dollar tech organization. And as my career progressed, I really realized that it was incredibly difficult to find and hire top female talent, which is why I started HCA. Because when I thought about the women that I actually wanted to hire, they were female athletes. All the skills that you guys are learning that you don't even realize and don't quite know how to articulate yet are really what will set you apart, not just in your entry-level jobs, but across your entire career. So as I started to figure out, why is it so difficult to find and hire women, and why do female athletes make such great employees? You hear in the media all the time, there's two stats that get quoted constantly. 94% of C-suite women played competitive sports and over half at the collegiate level. And then this one you can see on this slide, 93% of women making over $100,000 a year or more played competitive sports and over half at the collegiate level. So there's something to this demographic of women and the skills that you guys learn. You are undisputedly the highest correlated demographic to success in life after sports. But the issue is, and what I found as I started to do some of this research, is that I found that 75% of collegiate female athletes today are graduating without a job. For perspective, the national average is just 4%. And this isn't just a terrible statistic. Business Insider actually came out and said that if you graduate underemployed or unemployed, you'll remain that for over 10 years and may never find a college level job. So these decisions you're making as an athlete are so important. And not only that, is when these athletes finally find their first job that they didn't have when they graduated, they're usually making 30% less than their non-athlete counterparts. There's a nice little graph here to kind of show what that impact does across your entire career. So if you start out making 30% less, you could lose at least $2 million across your career just in lost salaries alone, right? So your ability to find a job before you graduate, and one that pays well, will pay dividends across your entire career. So when we go back to some of these statistics, that's 75%, and we're onboarding universities every single day. One of them, we onboarded literally 0% of their senior class has a current job offer. So this is a real problem. And I think if all of you really sat and thought about the women you play with, those who have played before you, this stat really does ring true. We started to do a ton of research as into why this is happening. So we'll go through some of these. First and foremost, you're not prepared, right? Female athletes are worried about the wins of today, not the losses of tomorrow. And so finding a job seems like a problem for another day, and you probably don't realize the gravity of that decision. Secondarily is geographical constraints. I grew up in Seattle and San Diego, and I went to school in Arizona. how would anybody ever know that I would ever want to live in Seattle or San Diego again? So career services may be helpful for the people who want to live close to their hometown, but for the rest of you that want to get back to where you're from, it's very, very difficult. If you want to play professionally is another one. There are definitely more opportunities to play professionally than there ever have been for women, but it almost creates more problems and more friction because nobody knows when you're ready to work again. The fourth one is, around professional positioning. I see this all the time is athletes don't really know how to articulate the value they will add to an organization. Please do not put on your resume, bullet point one, as a student athlete, time management, 20 to 30 hours a week. That is absolutely assumed. Nobody would have a part-time job while they're in college and put time management as their number one bullet on their resume, and really want to leverage how our sports truly will translate and speak the language of the job that we're wanting to get. And then the fifth one is the lack of tracking. So, your career services at your university are wonderful, but they have a lot on their plate. And placing their athletes is one priority amidst all of their priorities. And so because there's no tracking today, if my organization were to come to your university and say, hey, I would love to hire an athlete to be a financial analyst, who do you have? They actually have no tracking today to understand who is majoring in finance, who would be willing to live wherever the location is, who's graduating at what time. HCA comes in to really solve all of these problems. HCA at its core, like I said, is a candidate database where current and former collegiate female athletes can join the platform. And it's a guaranteed demographic for employers. So, I just got off the phone literally earlier today with the Detroit Pistons and the FBI, both who are like, yes, we want access as soon as possible, because they see the value in A, hiring women, and B, hiring former female athletes. But they don't know where to find you because of all these systemic barriers that we went over in that last slide. So in the US, it's also illegal to say that you want to hire a female. And so the way that organizations and companies go around that is they go to where there's a guaranteed demographic, such as an HCA. Then when you think about what's happening with AI, and I don't know how familiar all of you are with what AI is doing to our job market, et cetera, but everybody's leveraging AI to write their resumes, to prep for interviews, et cetera. And so we're all essentially regurgitating everything that AI is telling us to. And so from an organizational and hiring perspective, not only is it difficult to find and hire top female talent, it's going to be even harder to determine who actually is a good candidate while you're hiring these people, because we're just going to be regurgitating whatever AI tells us to. So these guaranteed demographics over the next 3 to 5 years are going to become unbelievably more important to companies and organizations that are hiring. The second one is educational content. We're going to get to a deeper dive on some of these things, but we're going to have a lot of town hall related things that you can join live, or if your schedule doesn't support some of the timing, they will be recorded and added to your profiles that you can watch at a later date, where you can go and get information about companies, understand what people do in their roles, et cetera. The third one is an AI professional positioning coach. And as I touched on a little bit earlier, it is difficult right now for athletes to articulate the value that they bring to an organization. And I'll give you one example. I was obviously a basketball player, Alexis was as well, and a lot of you utilize scouting reports regularly. So across a year, we would utilize 30 scouting reports. And those scouting reports are truly business cases, right? You're studying the competition, you're determining how to act accordingly, and you may have to pivot in real time as everything unfolds. They may have a new play that you didn't prepare for. And so these kind of things become super, super important to be able to articulate to companies and organizations why having a scouting report is literally a business case. And so you do have experience in very unique ways. Fourth one is university tracking, right? We talked a little bit about that earlier. The ability to track whether or not athletes are willing to live where, to have what job, majoring in what, will only allow us to be better partners to the employers that want to recruit us, because this friction point of recruiting makes it extremely, extremely difficult for these companies to spend extra time trying to find you and recruit you, even though they know the value. So we're trying to make female athletes the easiest demographic to find and hire. And the last one is you're going to be part of an elite community, right? I speak with women every single day who are so far along in their career, who are like, I want to give back, I want to help, I want to mentor, I don't know how, and this is a great way for them to be able to do that. So I'm going to kick it over to Lex to be able to kind of walk through what some of these things are, deep diving those five initiatives, and then we'll continue on from there.
Thanks, Steph. So this is what it's going to look like when you log in. So when you first log in to create your profile, it's just going to ask you some basic questions. So your display name, your personal email, if you want to be able to be contacted outside of your university email, that's what you would put, your phone number, where you're currently located, the school you are at or graduating from or have graduated from, your major, GPA, and your graduation year. Next, it's going to ask you about, the sport that you played. So your sport, your position, the athletic level, and your experience. And then lastly, it's going to talk about your education. So your highest education level, your preferred work environment is going to be, it could be hybrid, remote, in person, preferred employment. So that could be an internship, that could be full-time, part-time, contractor. That's where you're going to put that. And then your preferred location. So that's going to allow you to pick you can pick all 50 states if you want, or you can pick one state. So that's going to allow you to pick where you would like to be located for working. And then that ready to work, that box that you're going to want to check when you are ready to work, which will make you searchable for employers that are on the platform. The biggest part to emphasize here is that completing your profile. It's your first impression for employers. So you want to put your best foot forward and fill out as much of the information as you want. I highly encourage you to fill it all out. Once you're finished, there will be tabs that will let you know what you haven't filled out yet.
And the other thing too, Lex, that you really hit on, and I want to re-emphasize this, is from an organizational perspective, when you are hiring people, part of the reason that you have to submit a resume is because you can show your employer that you can actually do something. Right? So if you choose not to complete your profile, from an employer perspective, they're like, why didn't they do it? Do they not have follow through? Can they not get things done? And that's really not the impression I think anybody wants to give. So making sure you do that is important. And then that, are you ready to work? One other thing I would add, even if you're happily employed 5 years in, you could leave it checked as ready to work and basically tell the companies on the platform that, look, if you want to recruit me out of my role, I'm happy in my current role, but I'm also open to other opportunities. So that allows you to continue to be recruitable across your career.
So for the educational content, we're just giving you some snapshots of what the back end will look like, but there will be updated videos and content. So from employer content to athlete content. So for the content, resume, interview tips and tricks. These are going to be from employers that are on the platform that are helping provide knowledge for you guys for how to get hired and what to expect. So a day in the life, what to expect as an employee, career trajectory, tips, and then success stories from current employees that have hired, current female athletes that are on the platform. And then the athlete pathways, as we call them, are going to be highlighting success stories from recent grads that have gotten jobs, success stories from employers, education on the lost years that we had a slide about a couple minutes ago, the sports-based transferable skills session, like Steph had mentioned, what does it mean to be able to focus and hone in on 30 different scouting reports a year? What is it, what else can I say besides time management? So those types of discussions, networking opportunities through webinars with our employers.
Having these town halls, if you will, or pre-recorded sessions will allow companies and organizations to speak directly to you. And then you'll be able to do a lot of career exploration. You'll be able to do that kind of on your own time and figure out whether or not this is something that you would be interested in long term.
All right, so the AI professional positioning coach. So through HCA on the platform, we have an AI positioning coach. And so on the screen, you can see a conversation that I had with the AI coach. And this is just one conversation, based on one question. Depending on where you are with your AI coach, like this isn't always going to be your question. Your question could be something about how did you bounce back from a disappointing loss? There's a bunch of different questions that it will ask you, but so as you can see, this was asking me to highlight an athletic experience that I would want to put on my resume. And so thinking through my athletic career and achievement that meant the most to me. So I put in an athletic and an academic achievement. As you can see, just answering the questions honestly with the AI coach, you get follow-up questions. If you feel like you're ready to move on to adding highlights to your resume, then you click Yes. If you're not, you click let's chat some more. So I opted to chat some more because I felt like what I had put in wasn't enough. So added some more about, project or initiative that I did in college. And I added about joining a sorority and doing community service. Based on what I shared, it's going to give me some highlights. And then after highlights, it's going to transform it into actual bullet points that you can put on your resume. So from that like 2 to 3 minute conversation that I had with the AI coach, I just got 4 bullet points that I could put on my resume. So what the AI coach is doing is it's translating your academic and athletic success stories into what employers want to see on your resume. And then on the platform, those highlights, those bullet points, they will, if you choose to, they will show up on your profile. So it's creating highlights for you.
Yeah, and all of these things are editable, right? So now you can take these resume bullet points to your career and academic services and say, hey, can you help me make this measurable, right? How can I chat around my leadership development and my teamwork skills to be able to show the ROI that I'm driving? Because now it enables your career services and academic advisors to be able to help elevate something. And so we're letting the large language models and the AI coaches be able to utilize what they're good at. And then we put the human touch on with the people that you rely on at your university. A couple what to do next and what to expect, right? First and foremost, complete your profile. I cannot emphasize that enough. This is your first impression for employers. Secondarily, we are going to have some HCA internships, and this is going to be so cool. We actually just hired our first 2 from the University of Michigan, which I am so pumped about. They are not only going to learn a ton, but they're just going to make a huge impact. So I'm really excited about that. And if you want to be part of the internship program, you need to have your profile complete or you don't qualify. Again, just like an employer, for us, it's your first way to show us that you can actually do something and you're reliable and can get something done. Employers are coming on the platform in early 25. Every employer on the platform will have their own profile that you can view. And the reason we're not letting them come on the platform until early 25 is it aligns really with the key hiring timelines for all organizations, but also gives you guys enough time to get on the platform. So those are kind of the what to do and expect next. This is all bite-sized pieces. Educational content will be regularly loaded. New tech developments are going to be launched every few weeks. So keep an eye out. So many cool things in the pipeline, in the roadmap. And obviously this is pre-recorded, so nobody's asking questions on this call. But if you do have any questions, please reach out to Lex. Her contact's here, or you can reach out to us through the contact form on joinher.com. We're so excited for you guys to be on the platform. We're so excited to literally go change the world together. And we really want to create this platform for you guys to be able to reach your full potential, right? You all have so much untapped potential, and HCA is really here to unlock that. So welcome to the platform. Welcome to the team. So glad you joined her.